Chapter 9.7, 3D Figures and Spatial Reasoning. So we're going to be moving into three-dimensional figures for the rest of this chapter. So please make sure that you take a look at all of the vocabulary that we have today. Some of it you're probably familiar with. Some of it we're going to kind of take to the next level. You may be familiar with it, but we're going to add some more to it. And others you might not. So we're going to start with a 3D figure. So this cube here is an example of a three-dimensional figure. And three-dimensional figures, for the most of them, have certain qualities, okay? This space right here, this entire flat surface is called a face. So any flat surface of a three-dimensional figure is called a face. The line here, this line, connecting, or where two faces meet, is called an edge. Okay? That edge forms a line. If I was to name this line, or this A and this B, this would be line AB, and that line is an edge. Finally, where they meet, okay, the point where they meet is called a vertex. It is a single point. It is not a line. It's not a face. It's not an edge. It is that single point. It is the corner where the lines or the vertices or the faces meet. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at example 1. Name the prism shown. So first we need to talk about what a prism is. A prism is a three-dimensional figure with two parallel and congruent faces that are polygons. So here I see two bases. I see a hexagon here, and I see an identical congruent hexagon over here. So those two identical polygons, the two hexagons, are called the base. They're then connected by other lines, making the vertical space between them. So imagine that this was a solid piece. These faces are used to connect this base and that base. So what do we name it? We name prisms for their base shape. So this base is a hexagon. So we call this a hexagonal prism. Hexagonal prism. Okay, so you need to identify the base. Remember, there will be two of them, the exact same shape. That shape is your base, and you use that to name your prism. So this list is found on page 449. You might want to use it for reference. So example 2. The American Museum of Natural History in New York City is shown at the right. Name a three-dimensional figure in the photo. So we have, oh, did I skip example 1? Hang on, let me go back. Oh, nope, that was example 1. I'm sorry. American Museum of Natural History, New York, shown at the right. Name a three-dimensional figure in the photo. So one that stands out to me is, and you can only see part of it, but imagine that the rest goes down here, is that we have a sphere. Okay? It's a ball. I can see a few other little spheres, it looks like, hanging inside the museum right here. What other three-dimensional shapes do you see? Okay? Make sure you pay careful attention to all of your definitions. There are many that we didn't cover, like the cone, a cylinder, and yes, those are really bad drawings, but you get the idea. Make sure you pay attention to all of that vocabulary. Okay, that's it. Again, only 2 examples today. Go ahead and do your QCs and CYUs, and if you have questions, come see me.